Welcome to the Stephen Rotsart podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Rotsart, and I'm here to provide you value. From my years of real estate experience, I'm here to provide you tips and tricks in the real estate industry and to have guests on that have impacted my life and that I think that you might be able to benefit from too. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the podcast. We have a really special guest. What's so special about this guest is that I met her as part of a mastermind group that I am part of, and she actually is actively right now helping my clients benefit in certain situations because in my community that I live in San Diego, California, we have a varying range of ages of homeowners in our community. And I'm super excited to welcome Liz Reese on the show today. Liz, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, Steve.
So this is super special, and you're here because you are an expert, and expert's not even the right word. You are an elite expert in the field of what I would call reverse mortgage. Now, reverse mortgage to me is kind of a scary topic. Can you kind of give us the 2-cent version of reverse mortgages?
So yes, a lot of people are nervous about reverse mortgage because they think that you're just giving your house to the bank and the bank is just letting you stay there. And that could not be further from the truth. In that 2 cents short version, it's a delayed financing loan, meaning every month you're going to get a mortgage statement like you do now, but you get to decide if you want to make that payment or not make the payment. And if you don't want to make the payment, it just gets added to the balance of the loan each month. And so that loan comes due when the homeowner cannot live there anymore. So whether they decide to move, go into assisted living, maybe they pass away, then that loan comes due just like with any mortgage. So the family, the estate, has to pay that loan off either with a refinance or they sell the house.
To get it perfect, the bank doesn't automatically take the asset or take the home then,
Right.
if one of those occurrences happens where someone has to move out or pass.
Yeah, the bank does not want your house. What they want you to do is communicate with them. I had somebody recently that a real estate agent that kind of ran into this actually, where their mom had just passed and they were trying to figure out what to do. And their financial advisor was telling them, don't tell the bank that she died. No, just communicate with the bank. The bank doesn't want the house. The bank wants to know what your plan is to do with the house. But if your plan is to sell it, you usually have a year to sell the house. So you have
Wow.
plenty of time. You just have to communicate. That's what it's about. The bank can take your house if you don't do 3 things. You don't pay your taxes, you don't pay your insurance, and you don't keep it in good shape. So
that gives them the right.
house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that clarifies that then.
It's
So
very important.
make sure you do those 3 things
Yes.
to stay on top of it. But
Yeah.
explain the benefits of a reverse mortgage and we'll get into one of the clients that you're currently helping us with right now, but where would the benefits of a reverse mortgage be for a client?
It's a great loan because it's very needs-based. So there's a few different ways you can attack the benefit of it. One of them is that sometimes, especially in California, you're kind of house rich, but you might be really living just by the skin of your teeth, really frugally. And so this reverse mortgage allows you to access the equity in your home to help you live just a better life than just kind of skipping by and having this fantastic $1 million home, but you're like top ramen every night, And so that's a benefit that it can help seniors because this loan is for seniors. You got to be 55 and up, but it helps them access the equity in their home and not have to make a house payment. So that's one way it can help just improve your lifestyle. I did have a client that he took the equity from his house in a reverse and bought more property with that equity. So, and didn't change his monthly payment, like his monthly expenses, I guess I should say. The payment is, like we talked about, getting added on, but he was just able to take that asset and buy more properties, which overall is going to help his estate so much in the end of things because now they have more assets. So he's using his reverse mortgage as an investment strategy to cash flow on other properties. So sometimes it's very needs based and you're like, oh my gosh, let me help you. And others, it's like, okay, this is awesome. Like you're really utilizing the equity that you have in your house to create more wealth.
Well, it's such a fantastic program. And I think it really benefits, especially The community that I live in La Mesa, California, we kind of have a various range of ages, but we do have an elderly population, and most of those people are on fixed incomes. They're either living off retirement or Social Security or a combination of both. And so and with the cost increases of everything else across the board, some people have been hit. And then in a particular circumstance that I'll go ahead and bring up now, we have clients that then have a tragic incident that take place. So let's say a husband and wife or a couple were living together, and then one passes and there's a drastic change in income.
Mhm.
And explain exactly what you've done for our client literally within the past 7 days.
So your client's spouse died and they were getting about $5,000 a month in income. Well, now she can take his social security, which is nice because it's higher than hers, and she gets half his income. But basically her income went from 5,000 to $3,500. And her house payment is about 2,000. I'm rounding up a little bit, but it's about
Sure.
$2,000. So when we run all the numbers for her, what we can do is eliminate her house payment. She still got her taxes, remember, she have to still pay her taxes and insurance, but
Right.
she bought it long enough ago, and thank you, Proposition 13, her taxes aren't too bad. But we can eliminate $1,800 of her house payment. So we've just given her back $1,800. I mean, it's making that loss in income, it's making up for it. Now she
Right.
doesn't have to worry about, now I've got $3,500 and 2,000 of that has to go to a house payment, and then I have to live on it's just it's so stressful. We've all been so poor, like in college when you're like macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles, but there's this hope that I'm going to graduate from college and I'm going to get a good job and all of these things. But like flip that on the last part of your life
Right.
where you're a senior and you're living off of macaroni and cheese or ramen noodles and you're laying awake at night worried about like where am I going to go? I live in San Diego, California. I'm going to sell my house and go where? Like, I
Right.
still have to buy another house, like I have to live somewhere. And so that anxiety of like what I'm going to do as an elderly person, I think that's a different game than when you're a kid and it's kind of an adventure like you're camping in college. But when you're a senior, it's just I don't know. I helped one woman that she was like she sent me the sweetest message afterwards and just said, I feel like my fever has broken. And I just
Oh,
was like, that is so impactful, like what this can do for people. I just think it's impactful. And that's why I love doing it because it's fun to help people buy houses. I do love that. But like this changes, like, I don't know, maybe I just can
you're
relate to
changing
being
like,
so
no, I
poor.
totally agree with you. And I think that's the neatest part of our industry is that if you're a seasoned professional, there are so many avenues of real estate that you can be exposed to. And if you're one that is a solutions finder for problems that surface in all of your clients' lives for all age brackets, you can really, really make a difference in your community. And the biggest thing I think is what you touch on too is that when you get into your senior life, your senior ages, I should say, change is not something that would be your forte. And in this particular client that you're helping ours of, one of her big wishes was especially to not move. She had a
Mhm.
lot of memories in her home. She's been there over 30 years. She wanted to live out her remaining, days that she has with us, and hopefully they're long and blessed. But the reality is change was not something that she was going to be in favor of. And to provide an avenue that she can remain there, reduce everything, all her expenses, so that she can go ahead and stay in what she would call home that she's known for 30 years. I think it's just such a fantastic program. And I think you do an amazing job, especially in your demeanor and how you approach clients, because it's such a touchy subject as well, because, seniors aren't really forthcoming and some things they only know certain amounts that are coming in, and it gets scary to add something else, especially at that point in your life and at that age. And you do such a great job of being very forthcoming, very honest. And I think that's such a dynamic that you have working with clients. In a reverse mortgage, are they all kind of boilerplate the way they all work, or are there different programs that exist for seniors at this time?
Good question. There's two different types of reverse mortgages. There's the FHA one, and you've got to be 62 or older. And then there's proprietary or private money reverse mortgages that you can be as young as 55. There's pros and cons to each, and a lot of it depends on what are your goals. So FHA loans, regular FHA, they're
Uh-huh.
expensive loans. It's not any different with the reverse. They're expensive loans. But part of our process in educating the client is to show them why this expense, how it makes sense, and where is your break even point, and why this is a great product. The proprietary ones are cheaper. They're way cheaper to get, but the interest rates are double.
Oh,
So
wow.
very commonly on the proprietary, you go upside down at some point in time in the reverse, which is
Interesting.
doesn't mean you'll get kicked out of the house. It just means that your estate will not have any inheritance in the house.
Right.
Um, a benefit, though, to remember is that the estate also won't inherit that giant debt. You can just toss the ball back to the bank and they just are, it's their house.
So let me ask you a question. Are they required for a short sale type transaction at that point, or does the bank just assume the asset and they've exhausted the value?
They've exhausted the value. The bank will, so the estate has first right of refusal, which means if the estate wants to buy the house, they can pay 10% below market value. So
Oh,
if the house is upside down, if it's $1 million house, the loan on it is 1.5, the estate could buy it for 900,000 and the bank just writes off the rest of it.
wow. What a
Yeah.
program.
So it's kind of
And
cool
and I
that way
think that's
too.
so critical too, because you and I were on a conversation a couple weeks ago, especially with tax basis in California and
Mhm.
Proposition 19 and what that can do for families. Because under Prop 19 and some of these low tax basis counties that exist in California, families can still, with multi generational living and everything else, inherit those tax bases, and a reverse mortgage can kind of, let's say, assist when your parents or grandparents get in a position and still allow them to stay in a property, but at the same time, the estate can now come in and keep that basis if need be. I mean, there's a lot of
A lot
hoops
of
that
layers to it.
yeah, there's a lot of layers to that onion that we would have to go through, and
Yeah.
every client scenario is different, but these are the things we work through in portfolio management and things of
Right.
that nature to make sure that everybody is well protected.
Well, and that's what's great about working with an expert like you is that you understand all of those things, right? Like, I mean, I know you got to be careful where you advise, right? But we
Right.
know to redirect to your tax person if it needs to have that kind of discussion. But I think that layer of expertise that you have makes you such a benefit to your clients because you really can help advise them and you're not just doing a transaction like let's just sell your house and be done. There's
Right.
really some advisement.
And it's
I
so
love it.
needy in our market because obviously property values have gone up quite quickly over the past couple of years, but we have done so many of these. We actually have a person that is strictly just in charge of this at the county assessor's office. So
Mhm.
we know how the process works. We have a point of contact. We walk our clients through that process, and it's just so beneficial for everyone involved. And I think the reverse mortgage is such an attribute for our senior community to be able to use so
Right.
that they can still be within their budget on their fixed incomes and enjoy their homes.
And all the things to worry about, like with this woman or of her husband dying, like to be able to take away that worry about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about my house? Like
Right.
just grieve your husband, like go through that process.
Right.
Let us figure out this other stuff for you.
Let me ask you this. What is the average time frame for a client that is introduced to you and then starts walking through the process of a reverse mortgage? Is it a typical 30-day process? Is it somewhat lengthy? Is it shorter? How does that work?
The answer is it depends. If they are ready to if they are ready to pull the trigger and move forward, we can do it in 30 days.
Okay.
Typically, I would say 45 days is a good sort of cushion because part of the reverse process is they have to undergo a counseling session. And this is over the phone. It's less than an hour. It's about 150 to $175. But the goal of it is I think because in the past, reverse has kind of a bad name. People didn't understand what they were getting into. So
Right.
now they have some more coaching before the actual loan gets closed. So they have to do counseling, which could delay a couple weeks depending on how far out they are. So, but if you can like get us your documents on time, get the appraiser, we have to have an appraisal done. Like if all those things are followed, give us what we need, then it's, it can be 30 days. But
And it's somewhat paperless at this point. Is that correct? I mean, there's not a lot of,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if it's in a trust, we need the entire trust
oh
document.
yeah,
The hardest part of it is at that beginning where you're having to like find your social security award letters, social security cards, insurance, like just paperwork. If you can scan it, those are just the loveliest and I love them so much. But I've had people like mail it to me, so that's okay too.
yeah,
And usually if you have your kids, I love it when the kids are involved because they're very helpful to their
right.
parents, right? They see the value in it. I do always like to try and like, can we get your kids in on this conversation? Because ultimately the kids are the ones that have to deal with it in the end of things. So it's important, I think, to have support around it. I've been on calls with financial advisors and the CPA, and we're trying to craft a plan for people. And so it's good to have people in your corner.
And I'm going to ask kind of a direct question, and if you don't know the answer, that's okay. Can these programs still work even with a power of attorney or anything else in place to be able to have a loved one stay in their home?
There are extra hoops to jump
Okay,
through, but it is possible. Yeah, it's
because I
clear,
think
like, be clear up front. What do you
yeah,
need? Be
because
clear.
I think we run into a lot of clients that they have in here in home care, and they want to
Mhm.
continue that process, but they need to take out the mortgage expense at the time to be able to maintain that level of care. And maybe
Right.
there's a power of attorney or something in place, but I think
Yeah.
that's just another avenue that is beneficial to all clients. I mean, yes, there's probably like you said, more layers that
Mhm.
have to be unraveled to be able to do this, but it's anything is possible. We just need to be able to have the opportunity to find the solution. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what in closing, what would you kind of give someone as a boilerplate template of, hey, have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage and maybe it's an option for you? What would that discovery look like initially?
Well, what you'll probably notice if you're in that age group is that all of the ads popping up on your Facebook are about reverse mortgage. As you get older, it seems to like I keep getting these ads for like lotion for older women, I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what the heck? Um, I think if you find yourself in a position, I think what's really common right now is that people are living longer and they're starting to notice that their IRAs are not going to last as long as they were hoping.
Right.
And so I don't really know if this answers your question exactly, but I think it's worth having a conversation with somebody. Does this make sense for me? My goal personally is not to talk you into it. I want to tell you about it
Hmm.
and show you the pros and cons, but I'm not going to try to manipulate you into doing it. I think that it's a tricky business because, like, actually, I had a reverse mortgage client call me yesterday, and he's like, "Liz, I get 2 phone calls a day from like loan officers wanting me to refinance my reverse." And
Wow.
these seniors, they really are so trusting and get taken advantage of, and so I'm grateful that he had me to call to just, what's going on? Why would I want to refinance, and that we could have a conversation. But it's worth, if you have a lot of equity in your home, you're worried about running out of money, or what I actually find is more my client base are the kids of the parents who need a reverse mortgage. So
Yeah.
they're thinking, what
Yeah.
am I going to do for my parents? How can I keep mom in her house? We can't, as siblings, all afford to take care or agree to take care of mom, but how can we help her stay in her home? So
Right.
I think it's definitely worth having a younger generation of people think about reverse mortgage because they're going to have to figure out how to take care of their parents.
Right. Well, and
So,
I'm seeing that right now. I mean, I'm seeing my friends either bring their parents in or
right.
especially with, ADU bills, what additional dwelling units and things like that being allowed in the state of California on multiple properties. It's provided that avenue that, okay, well, we could all move in with either mom and dad or grandma and grandpa and be able to kind of do this together. But you're just such an incredible resource. Your knowledge of a reverse mortgage and the mortgage industry is second to none. And I think that just your genuine, honest way that you approach it and providing all the avenues of possibilities for someone to just stay and remain in their home, I think you are just an amazing resource for that. And so I appreciate your time today. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Liz?
Yeah, so my cell phone number, do you want me to just give it out here?
Well, I'll put it in a
209.
link as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but
I'll
go
put it
ahead.
in the link here. So 209-640-1710. I do have an Instagram that is Loan Lady Liz.
All
And I
right.
made a reverse mortgage one that's called Retire and Live Well, that I'm trying to just put reverse mortgage stuff on that so it's not mixed in with all the other things. But yeah. Yeah,
Well, that's
we'll leave
fantastic.
some links, and I'm the broker owner of Reese Squared Mortgage. So yeah. It's
Well,
my
you're an incredible
own little small
resource.
business.
Thank you so much. Yeah, small
Thank you.
business, small family
Yeah.
business at that. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah. You have a small family business. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I appreciate your time today. I think the reverse mortgage is a very touchy topic, like you said, but
Mhm.
you really provide an avenue for people to just remain in their home and feel secure that even on a fixed income, they can still stay in their homes and just be happy, healthy, and enjoy the remaining time they have with us here. And
Yeah.
I appreciate your time today. And we'll put those links down below so that if you have any questions regarding reverse mortgage, you can reach out to Liz or even me, and I'd be happy to help you in any way, shape, or form. So thanks so much, Liz.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.